You made it through 2020. What's next in 2021? Is it the year of the big move? Are you finally relocating to San Francisco, but you need to know what it costs before you get here? Don't worry, you came to the right video. We're going to go over what it really costs to live in San Francisco. My name is Derek Langfield, Agent Extra. Cue the video. Welcome back to the go-to YouTube channel for all things Bay Area real estate, specifically San Francisco and the East Bay Area. My name is Derek Langfield, Agent Extra. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. Again, we're dropping all things Bay Area real estate content, weekly interviews, community hotspots, everything that you need to know before entering the Bay Area real estate market. Now that the particulars are out of the way, let's get into it. What does it really cost to live in San Francisco? The first thing we're going to cover is the median home price. That's everybody's first question. What is the median home price and how is it going to affect you, and can you afford to live here? But before we do that, we need a scale. We're going to use the same scale that we used for a previous video when we talked about what does it cost to live in the East Bay Area, just across the bridge from San Francisco. That scale is going to be 100. The national average is 100, so anything above 100 will be above the national average. Anything below 100 will be below the national average. So the median home price in San Francisco, are you ready? Hold your pants, strap on your seatbelt. The median home price in San Francisco for a single family home is just over $1.6 million. That wasn't too bad, was it? 1.6 million? Yeah, that's tough. But you know, it's pretty common sense that the Bay Area is a very expensive place to be. So you have a $1.6 million median home price for a single family home, just over $1.2 million for a median price of a condo, and just over $1.1 million for the median price of a TIC. Now, if you want to know what a TIC is, drop it down in the comments. Maybe we'll make a video on it. San Francisco is very infamous or famous, however you want to phrase it, for TICs. Stands for Tennessee in Common. We're not going to get into it in this video. A little bit different from condos and a lot different from single family. But if you want to know, drop it in the comments and we can talk personally. So with that being said, where does it rank on the national scale? On a national scale, San Francisco comes in at almost 600 in comparison to California as a whole, which comes in at 232. So where does that rank on a national scale? Again, national scale is 100, California 232, San Francisco almost 600. Yes, it's very, very costly to live in California, specifically San Francisco. But you're also making, most likely, more money in San Francisco than you are in a lot of other places. So the cost of living is a lot higher, but so is the particular salary. Now, if you think renting is a little bit better, I'm not going to cover the whole rent versus own in this video. We'll talk about it in a later video, but I just want to drop some average rental prices. So if you're thinking about renting or buying, you can kind of compare the two. So of January of 2021, the San Francisco average rent has dropped drastically because of the pandemic, of course, and everybody kind of vacated San Francisco and moved to other parts of the Bay Area or other parts of the country. So the average rent for a studio is just over $2,300. The average rent for a one bedroom is just over $2,500, and the average rent for a bedroom is just over $2,700. In comparison, about a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, the average rent for a one bedroom in San Francisco was almost $3,700. So you can see how much it's dropped. So it's a little bit more cost feasible now to rent versus buy. But if you have a chance, we of course always recommend buying, because instead of making a landlord rich, you're increasing your net worth. Now, how much does it cost to run your property? if you own a property in San Francisco and you need utilities. So gas and electric, what is the cost of that? Here's where we start some of the good news. San Francisco is a little bit below the national average. So California as a whole, the national average to run your home for the utilities is about 102. San Francisco comes in at 97, see? So it's already looking up. In comparison, I would say if you were, looking to run your home, and again, we kind of talked about this in the East Bay video, but if you're looking to run your home in the East Bay for utilities, it's going to run you probably about $250 to $400. In San Francisco, it's going to be considerably less, most likely, because of the climate. You don't have to run the AC typically in the summer. It doesn't get drastically cold, so the heater may be on occasionally, but it's not, you don't have these different climates. So I would say in San Francisco, you're probably looking at $100 to $200 to run your home monthly for utilities. Again, it depends on what size home you live in, how many people are in the home, things like that. In San Francisco, you also get a little bit more or a little bit less square footage. So, you don't have this big massive house that you're running. A lot of people like condos and, again, TICs. So the utilities are a little bit less. One of the major reasons why people come to San Francisco, of course, they want city life and the nightlife and things like that, and the environment and the culture that San Francisco brings, but they also want world-renowned food. San Francisco has some amazing eateries and food hotspots and different cultures and diverse cultures. But it's going to cost you a little bit more to eat in San Francisco than anywhere else. So the national average, again, being 100, San Francisco falls at a 116. So not crazy more than anybody else, but still more than the national average. If you're looking to go out and lunch in San Francisco, yes, San Francisco has $14 to $15 salads. They have some things that are very expensive, but I'd say on average, plan to spend between $15 and $30 for lunch. For dinner, if you were going out to dinner, again, it depends on which restaurant you go to. If you're going to some high-class restaurant like French Laundry or something like that, you're going to spend a small fortune. But on average, taking everything into account, plan on spending $40 to $70 for dinner. Probably more closer to the $60, $70 mark for dinner. But again, on average, that's where San Francisco falls. Now, how are we getting around San Francisco? So San Francisco is a city living in. People really mostly hate driving in San Francisco. Driving in San Francisco is a totally different monster than anywhere else. So most people in San Francisco utilize three different options. They use Muni, which is a bus and cable car system. They utilize BART, and they utilize rideshare programs. So we'll briefly cover all those, and we'll briefly cover what it costs for a tank of gas in San Francisco. So first and foremost is Muni. Again, it's essentially bus/cable car, covers mostly everywhere in the city. If you're looking at day ride in San Francisco, it's gonna be, not day ride, single ride, it's gonna be $250 to $3 per ride. Now you can get a monthly pass, which is $81 for Muni, and that covers the bus and cable car. Or you can do $98, and that includes the bus, cable car, and BART throughout San Francisco. Okay, so only in San Francisco BART trips does that cover. Now, I encourage you to check out the discounted and free rides, because they do have discount and free ride programs for lower income families and lower income youth and senior citizens. You also get discounts for senior citizens and teenagers and youth as well. So check into that. As of December 2020, BART has unveiled the Clipper card as really the only form of payment to ride BART. It used to be you can go up to the machines, pay per trip, pay per station, pay per round trip, whatever your preferred method is, but now they're utilizing the Clipper card, which is a prepaid card. The Clipper card itself is $3. You can put up to $300 on said card. Now, if you're traveling throughout the Bay Area on BART, typically that's about a month to month and a half limit that you would have. Now, if you're traveling within San Francisco limits on a daily basis for work, that should last you a lot longer than that. most people utilize the rideshare programs, Lyft, Uber, things like that. Because of the detail and the variety of people's different trips and where they're going, the time of day that they're going, it's very hard to pinpoint the cost for your Uber and Lyft monthly. But from my research, from my experience, from the things that I've encountered and the research I've done, I would say roughly you can spend $10 to $20 per day on Uber or Lyft. Thus, I'd say $250 to $350 per month for Uber or Lyft if you utilize them every day back and forth to work. Again, it depends on the time you go and of course the distance. You guys all know that. If you're choosing to drive in San Francisco, bless you, you're going to need to fill up your car with gas most likely. So how much does it cost to fill up your car with gasoline? What is the cost per gallon? So currently at the time of this video, we are, of course, the highest in the nation. On average, the national average per gallon for gas is $2.30. San Francisco currently is at $3.40. So where does transportation rank on a national scale of 100? In California, as a whole for transportation, we rank at 133. For San Francisco, we rank at 158. Again, that incorporates your rideshare programs, bus, BART, and your gas. Now, finally, we're going to talk about the miscellaneous items. So that includes everything kind of not covered in this list. So clothes, entertainment, things like that. Because miscellaneous items include so much, I cannot go into it with great detail. However, for research purposes, national average being 100, miscellaneous items in San Francisco, clothing, entertainment, things of that sort is at 120. That'll do it for today's video. My name is Derek Langfield, Agent Extra. If you're thinking about relocating to San Francisco, know somebody that's relocating to the Bay Area, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me a carrier pigeon if that's your preferred method. My contact information is down below. I will also link some more information in regards to San Francisco living in the description. You know what you gotta do. Get extra to have extra. Have a great day.